Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to the very first edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam, in 2026. I have missed you guys. I took a little bit of a hiatus for a month, and I really did need it. I really did need it. But I'm back, and I'm glad to be back with you. And I've got some wonderful guests that we're going to really get into some deep conversation tonight. I'm sad to say, though, that in that month that I was off the show, things I didn't, when I don't think that things could get any worse, they do. And they did. And it's not that just the United States is in chaos. It seems like the whole world is broken and in a complete uproar. Now it appears through special elections and what have you that we're seeing that the tide might be shifting against MAGA. But even and when sanity arrives again in Congress, and the U.S. brand and its reputation has been horrifically broken. It's in the trash. Essentially, we are no longer the leader of the free world. Our allies are forming new alliances with other nations. And just because we change course, meaning we change course, we do a course correction in our voting pattern with our leadership in Congress, it is very unlikely that our allies will think of us as trustworthy again. And that's just how life is, right? If somebody does you wrong, you listen, you're gonna believe your eyes and your heart of what you felt and what you saw, right? So tonight I have two of the best public relations and public policy people that I know. They also happen to be my sorors of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And we just celebrated our Founders Day, so I have to say that. Let me introduce them to you. They have been on the show before. Okay, so first up, I have Miss Tanya McKenzie. She is the founder of Sand and Shores, a communications, marketing, and sports media firm. She is also an international speaker and the chair of the Los Angeles County Commission on Alcohol and Other Drugs. And that is a big deal because I believe she was the first African American to have that position. And she has recently been reelected to that role there in Los Angeles. Tanya specializes in storytelling and reputation management, building community, and increasing brand awareness. Welcome back to the show, my soror, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. So glad to be back and glad to see your face. Oh my God. I'm ready to get into this conversation.
Okay, all right. And next I have Noemi Lujan Perez. She is a political strategist with 30 years of experience at the intersection of public policy and public relations. Her portfolio includes Fortune 500s, government agencies, and political campaigns. Welcome back to the show, my soror Noemi.
Thank you for having me, and happy Founders Day.
Happy Founders Day,
Happy
guys.
Founders Day to you too, Tanya.
Founders Day, ladies.
There's Loretta. That's our soror. Hello, everyone.
Hey girl, bye.
And Renee Shaw, she is Chef's Kiss. Renee is she gets on here and she gets down. Renee, I might don't write a book. I might have to just send you the link, okay? All right. So let's get into it, ladies. This question is going to be for both of you, and just to get us started. So let's pretend that the midterm elections are over. The Dems have won decisively. They have decisively won both the House and the Senate. What is absolutely the very first thing we need to do, we the people, we the Congress, need to do to start the U.S. back on the path of a reputation makeover? So I'm going to let Tanya deal with that first. And you go, Noemi, second, and I'll chime in, I'm sure.
Listen, America needs some definite rebranding, okay? And it starts with alignment. For those of us that are in comms, one of the first things we think about is alignment and messaging. And we have to understand it needs to start not with nostalgia, because talking about what was,
Mm-hmm.
I think, is actually a lot more painful than what needs to be. And instead of making America great again, we need to make it honest again. We need to make it read again. We need to make facts matter again. We need to make science matter again. We need to clean out these cabinets that have unqualified people and make the White House honest and qualified again. We are not qualified to carry the torch anywhere at this point. This is the first time I'm hearing, not from TV, but from real people that are traveling, hearing people boo the United States. If
Mm-hmm.
we were watching a sporting event today and they were singing the national anthem and people started to boo, Americans are booing Americans. Other nations are booing America. We have to clean out the closet with a clean slate, because continuing to lean on nostalgia and what was, even what was with Obama, even then things weren't perfect. We were still slow walking some things that needed to happen in a more rapid succession, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think the rebrand starts with being honest about the problems that we have and really solving them, not baby stepping, not soft walking. We need to get right into it.
All right. Noemi, what are your thoughts?
It's such a complex and layered issue, right? And
Yes.
Tanya tapped into several of them. I'm going to tell you what immediately came top of mind to me: the rebranding of the working class and the Democratic Party's role with the working class. I think that is one of the things that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this last campaign and this current administration, flipping, turned everything upside down. We're in the upside down world where the Republican Party somehow became rebranded as the Working People's Party. And gave the illusion, right, through half truths, as Tanya's pointing out, to an outright lies, of what it was supposed to fix and correct for the working class. Part of the issue is that in flipping those things upside down, it also flipped the narrative on who the true journalists are, right? So it negated our traditional news sources, our journalists, bona fide and trained journalists, and it put forth to the front the Carl Tuckers of the world, the Candace Owens of the world, Nick Fuentes, as the truth sayers, okay, of who and what this country is and who validates the White House. So it's reclaiming and rebranding what exactly the working class is. And who is advocating for the working class. There's a line also that has been blurred, right, where the working class is advocating for the elite.
Yes.
And the billionaire class. How did that happen? How did that come to be? So that has to be a very clear and consensus redefined. I think once that redefinition is grappled, we'll be able to get a handle here within this country on what our policies are supposed to be and what we're supposed to be pushing back on. Now, let me just say this, and I have to say this, and it was actually a sidebar conversation that Tanya and I had recently. And I was sharing with her that the co-option of the news agencies actually started before January 20th. Of 2025, which is when the current White House administration was inaugurated, right? I was sharing with her that, and I will use the term allegedly, has been an alleged buyout that occurred mid 2025, right, during election season, or buy in to, for example, Univision.
Oh God.
Impacts not just Spanish news coverage in the US, but the whole Western Hemisphere. And that started to shift into what we see now with many news stations, right?
Mhm.
Um, News media on how it covers news, how it accepts without verification what the White House provides and accepts ad buys from DHS and others, right?
Mhm.
Irrespective of how racist and how insulting they might be. And again, that was before the inauguration even took place. So let
Mhm.
me just point this out, right? That we have been undergoing a full-on PR and marketing campaign
Mhm.
before
Mhm.
the White House was even inaugurated, and that's part of that feeling we have of like, why, how, what happened, right? We're in the
Right.
upside down world, and it predates,
Mhm.
okay, Project 2025, right?
Mm.
So for
Mhm.
those of us who are in PR comms, political communications, paying attention, where are these sources? Where is this coming from? How is this happening? Whoever and however that was launched, it is very sophisticated, right? It has led to the co-option, not just of English language news media, but
Mhm.
Spanish language news media.
Mhm.
So again, think about the type of messaging that has been driven all the way down through to the tip of South America, right? Think of
Mhm.
Venezuela. Very complex, very sophisticated. Oh, we know that the federal government has spent allegedly, or at least from what I've read, $200 billion, or is it million, just
Oh,
on ICE marketing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole PR marketing campaign that the
mhm.
current administration initiated, and we are subject to. But first and foremost, working class, right? Once we get a hold of that bulk of the nation and they get to understand what they're seeing is fabricated, right?
Mhm.
That's part of
Mhm.
that internal alignment and messaging that we have to grapple
Mhm. Mhm. I listen.
with.
I know. I can't even get it out. It's like they are always ahead of us on the messaging. They
Yeah,
are always ahead of us. And what's interesting is that most people don't know that that's what that is.
yeah,
But
correct.
but those that are in it, we know what that is. And then
Correct.
the whole thing with the media, with the watering down and the magnification of CBS, and I mean, it is just I don't know it.
Let me let me add this, and I have to convey this. And I know we're speaking US, but I want you to understand how amplified and far-reaching this is. Okay. And this is part of the reason I mentioned the Spanish news media. There are MAGA-esque movements, right,
Mhm.
that have
Yes.
sprung up in other countries, including Mexico, right? Uh, yes. And so a lot of these things have a great deal to do with messaging, and
Mhm.
it's targeted messaging, right?
Yeah.
And it predates, and if you pay attention to it, right, take several steps back and pay attention. A lot of this is actually their preambles to
Mhm.
what the federal government, this current administration, is doing. So it's
Mhm.
all a very complex and well orchestrated PR and marketing campaign, not just in the US, but abroad, right?
Mhm.
Um, Even the whole Greenland Denmark situation.
Oh God. I
He's driving message, right?
Yes,
So it
yes.
is shifting how the market flows and how other nations are responding. We're just part of a big, massive marketing and PR campaign. Yes.
I know, and I just am so but it's so dangerous and it's so insidious because it's such a lie. It's just a complete utter lie. It's like he's got on fancy clothes and he's the emperor with no clothes. It is, and the gaslighting, we're all going to need mental health therapy. The nation, because we are being gaslit 24/7. You didn't see that? No, that car she ran over that cop, and he shot her in self-defense. And they've got frame by frame by frame to say otherwise, but they stick to that same lie. And Caroline Levitt and her propaganda machine, it's just bizarre. It's just so bizarre. Go ahead, Tanya.
Let me say something really quick. One of the things both Noemi and I have discussed before is trauma, right? Recovering from trauma. Dear Lord, yes, this administration is traumatizing many of us. But one thing I do know about trauma for sure is that you cannot fix trauma with the same people that broke it. You cannot fix you with the same people that broke you. Same thing with the United States. The next rebrand needs new messengers.
Yes.
So what you're saying is right, but I'm talking about on every level, because there was a time when Republicans weren't this. And I don't think every Republican is MAGA, but I feel bad for them. I feel traumatized for some of them because they don't even know they don't even which way is up for the ones that aren't.
Right.
All that being said, the next rebrand definitely requires new messengers.
Yes.
You cannot rebuild and rebrand America's trust with using the same spokespeople that broke it.
Right.
At all. And that's on both sides.
On both sides. And
even looking right now, currently, the people that are in leadership on both sides are worthless. They are not leading anything. And that is unfortunate because we cheered that on with the hopes that he would show up and be something we needed, because he said he would. Also, because someone that did do something handed the gavel to him. So we expected at least a carry on or more than what she was doing.
Right.
If I give you the baton, I expect you to not only keep my pace, but get even faster.
Right.
I'm not giving you the baton in a relay for you to go slower.
Right. Right.
So the disappointment is visceral. And online now, I've measured it. It is bad. So anybody that thinks, Democrats are just happy with Democrats. No, they're not.
No, we're
but
not.
Just like Republicans that aren't happy with MAGA, they're not either. And nobody is doing anything to fix that leadership problem. So I just want to be clear that when it comes to messaging, we have to have different leadership. And we have to acknowledge that the ones that were chosen did not work. And the message that they're delivering is not working. And whatever they think they're doing with their message is ineffective. And it's okay to tell people that's not working. You are ineffective. This isn't working. You're leading us to nowhere.
Right.
This isn't working.
Right.
I have to say yes to what she says. And I'm going to add a little something that I know is going to make people upset, but it absolutely validates and backs Tanya's point about moving beyond the people who have already existed. Let me say this, that for the Democratic Party, that includes Kamala Harris. That includes other individuals who have run for office and have lost. We, as a Democratic Party, have to get out of this mechanism of wanting to run people 2 and 3 times again. Okay. And like I said, I know that's uncomfortable for people. The other piece of that is that part of that, what is the term you use, Tanya? That toxicity, for lack of a better word, that exists. If we pull in these people, right, that were part of the previous sort of,
toxic culture.
Yes, that exists. It's just going to keep it going. So we now have to say to our previous champions, sorry, right? We have to move on. And so it's not just about getting the Republicans to move on from Trump, right? And the Stephen Millers of the world,
Oh my God.
and any other Republican who has stood by and championed MAGA, right? But also on the Democratic side, not just from the older, less progressive candidates, but again, from those individuals who will be part of repeating that mechanism over again. So again, love Kamala. I hope to see her run for a different position. Okay. I hope we don't do the same mistake of trying to rerun her again a second time. We'll walk into the same bubble.
What do you guys, one thing that I'm thinking about that really concerns me very much is that even with this tide shifting where we're winning special elections and the momentum is with sane candidates again, people that are going to do something. The problem though is even if we get all of the Congress and Dimwit is still in office, obviously he will be in the midterms. They will be, he and his minions will still be there. The problem is he's not really going to Congress anyway for all of the stuff that he's doing anyway. So in my opinion, one of the first things that we have to do is do some type of whatever the constitutional thing is about treason for Lottie Dottie and everybody. We need to do that. I mean, we need a revolution, y'all.
I agree. And Dwayne Welch, and he stated in a chat, the message is definitely not clear. What is it you are for? Keep it simple, right? And that's why I'm pointing back like, yeah, let's go back to the working class message. Is that not what we're supposed to be about, right? Advocating and championing the working class that basically feed our economies, taking care of them, et cetera, et cetera. Right. That has been lost in all of this, and have been caught up in basically, I'm sorry to use this word, cult culture. And I'm going to use it for both sides, definitely on the MAGA side, but on the Democratic side, there are elements to that, right? Where we're going to put all our eggs under one basket and this person is going to be the champion of all things. It's not just one person, right?
Right.
It's the multi-layered strategy. Right. And I think that's part of the reason the Republicans were able to step in and usurp everything.
Yeah. The other thing too is Mandami. I know I'm probably saying his name wrong because I haven't practiced in a while. But you notice how it was all the big Democrats, nobody wanted to touch him. They didn't want to touch him. Didn't want to say, because, he's a socialist Democrat. He's a this and that. And the dude, he worked his buttocks off. He did the damn thing and won.
Okay, let's be clear about a lot of the people that didn't endorse him.
Okay.
Don't they take money from a certain organization?
Yes, and I was going to talk about that. How can Hakeem be taking a couple of mil from AIPAC and all of them, and then AIPAC is money on you can't
on both sides. AIPAC gives, just to be clear, AIPAC gives money on both sides, y'all.
They do, yes. And if you're going to be independent and free from MAGA, how can you be getting money from both?
And they're not. And that's the problem. That's the toxicity. That's, let's keep it simple for the people. It's kind of like when you have a toxic family and they gaslight you all the time and they make you think that you are crazy. And then they tell you things they're going to do to make your life better. And they do the exact opposite and then try to make you seem ungrateful. This is a toxic family that we are a part of. The American political culture is toxic. And nobody except I would say this, the progressive Democrats right now are the only ones that are saying, I'm going to do what I say and say what I'm going to do. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to say it with my mouth. I'm going to use the words and then I'm going to go do it. And if you don't like that, then don't vote for me. But the people that like that are going to vote for me. And that's how New York got the mayor that they got. He said what he wanted to say. He was honest about it. And he did what he said he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that voted for him are happy about that. The people
Mm-hmm.
that didn't, they're not. But they also are like, but that worked though. Like,
I'm going to say something again that's very unpopular, but let me say this.
Say whatever you want for.
This focus on New York and New Yorkers.
Yes.
And putting all our eggs in the basket is part of the issue that I'm referring to. Mm-hmm. And I think for the Democrats, we have been subject to New York, right? Shaping what the rest of the party is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. What works in New York does not work in other states. So we're talking about Schumer and Jeffries are both from where? New York. Where is Trump from?
New York.
New York, though he settled himself in Florida, right, to save himself, but New York. And so we're really looking at New York and New Yorkers, right? Their long battles, okay, with one another. We need to set ourselves free from New York. Love New York, right? But it's too much of a bubble. It's, for example, what works in Los Angeles does not work in Houston, right?
Right.
And so you're talking about very different politics. Yes, New York is a progressive state, progressive politics, as is California. But we're basically trying to force a more, I'm a moderate progressive. Let me say it out loud. I'm a moderate progressive, and I'm a moderate progressive saying this. We're basically trying to shape progressivism, right? To be in the farthest left way possible. And we're missing out the moderate progressives, right? And the more right-leaning Democrats. So that is part of the issue, part of the puzzle. We just need to step away. It goes back to the point Tanya made, right? Let's revisit and walk away from some of these old messengers and messages. And part of it is some of these New Yorkers.
And to be clear, I wasn't talking about his policies. I'm just talking about his disposition.
Oh, I'm talking about all of it.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's part of the rebrand that needs to happen.
Yeah. You're right. And Renee, I love what you said, which is the Democrats let other people brand them, which goes back to messaging, right?
Yes.
And my whole thing is controlling the narrative. They have allowed for this corrupt, crooked, and lion-ass party to brand them, to brand what the truth is. I have the biggest issue. This is the simplest thing in the world. Words like woke, and allowing for them to take a word that literally has a dictionary definition, and then it scares you away from using it. So you're telling me that I get to be dumb. You want me to be dumb, like you, in order for policies that I want to get voted on. So we have to take the word woke out of it. And I don't.
Now I'm going to step it back in, okay? Because part of the reason the New York conversation and now the woke piece was brought up was because of Mamdani. Thank you for bringing him up, Pam. Where's Mamdani? New York, right? And I think Trump and MAGA, they're great communication sleuths. Don't get it wrong. That's why we're here. Are paying attention to that and are letting us be part of the, deal with all of that. And I think that is in part why Trump in turn basically paraded Mamdani. It was less about his progressive politics. It's great.
I don't know what that was. That was weird. Let's just call it.
That was about
weird.
He was branding the Democrats as here's the socialists I'm talking about.
So weird.
And we're just basically dealing along with it. And I'm here in California going, here we go, New York, here we go. Right. So we do have to have a rebrand. And part of it, yes, going back to it, new messengers, new messaging, recouping the working class and the working class messaging, right? Flipping back to our traditional truth sayers and message news media journalists. But we do need to step away from New York. I'm sorry.
No, we've got some New York. Renee is from New York.
Renee's like, listen, you ain't
Renee's like, well, what do you have against New York? It's just, it's basically all the apples are in that basket, and we're basically at the whim, if you will, of how well these New Yorkers respond or don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Guys, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. What, since this is Martin Luther King's holiday weekend, and I even have a few clips of some things that he has, what do you think that Dr. King would say if he were here right now in his right mind and all that good stuff? What would he say? What would he say?
I think that he would have a speech or two about how America has lost even the few values that it had. It has lost its values. It's lost its clarity. There isn't even a clear path on where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Currently. We sell freedom, but we legislate bodies, we legislate books, and we legislate ballots. That's not freedom. That is selective access. And it is not the way that we can continue along this path. You know, he did make a statement at one point that was like, I feel like, I can't quote it exactly, but it was kind of like, I feel like I'm leading my people into the dungeon. Like,
yes.
So I'm doing what I think is right, but these folks over here, I don't know if this really is good. This integration thing is going to be good for us, but this is where we're going.
Right.
And with that being said, now you're looking at a case where this isn't freedom. Even if we thought this is where we wanted to be, this isn't freedom. And everything that we fought for to get equality to, now they're taking it. So it was almost better when it was just us, because one of the things that upsets me, and I brought up woke because I was having a meeting with a professor from Northridge, and we were just talking about the anti-intellectual movement that we seem to be on. So when we were segregated, Black communities were still making sure that we were reading, that we were battling for educational opportunity, that we were working hard to take care of each other and our communities. And now that we are in a place where we're all equal, right? We're all equal. They're trying to take away what we were doing without them. So now why are we trying to act like we need them to do what we've always done? That's when I say the woke part, that's just an example of something we know what it is. I don't care what they're calling it. This is what we know it is, and this is how we are going to move. Just like trying to say college is something that we don't need to promote that. We can just find success in other things. Who in the hell in the Black community has ever said that? Nobody. Not, and all of our relatives have come from down south where they were sharecroppers and they were picking cotton and they were doing all the things, still making money, but promoting education. So even if you wind up doing some kind of labor, there is never a time where a Black family was not promoting education. If you did something else, that was one thing, but we promoted education. And now we're letting other people tell us that we can find success somewhere else. We were never that. And it's not okay for us to let other people tell us what we know is true. That was, so the woke was just an example. Like, we know what it is. So why are we allowing for someone else to define what we already know? Just like when it was just us, we were doing all the things. We were doing all of the things that needed to be done that allowed for us to be successful and progressive. And now we're allowing for people to dictate to us what we should be doing or what's important or how to succeed. That is where I think he would come in that we ain't them. And we ain't gonna let them tell us that we got to live like them, because we're not, and we don't, and we never have.
Right. I gotta do this great shout out here. Good evening, ladies, aka X-Man MAGA Granny. That is Pam Hemphill. Pam, just a few weeks ago, got on, she got her dream. She got before Congress and she told her truth.
Heard
And
that.
she told them point blank in the period, you are not going to gaslight me. That was an insurrection. It was not peaceful. This is what happened to me, and this is what I where I was, et cetera, et cetera. And you know that she got a lot of coverage on ABC News, all over the place, a lot of coverage. And Pam is just, she's recuperating out of the hospital. We wish you well, Pam. And that is the kind of truth that's going to really set us free. We have to speak the truth. We have to have people like herself and others tell the truth. We can't, because all we're getting is smoke and mirrors and lies. That's all we're getting.
I have to answer the question about Dr. King. I think Dr. King would have been front and center to protect the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is a byproduct of the civil rights movement that he was the face for and died for.
Yes.
The attack on the Civil Rights Act, DEI, is a product, a byproduct of Civil Rights Act, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The attack on the Civil Rights Act, again, started before Trump won the election.
Mm-hmm.
People were not paying attention to it. There was a whole movement, and actually Pam and I were at an NABJ conference in Alabama, where there was a whole discussion about the DEI hearings that were taking place in Congress, and no one else knew about it, right? Mm-hmm. That whole attack that was going on at the congressional level and led by the Heritage Campaign, et cetera, had been going on for 2 or 3 years before the campaign took place, the elections took place. I think he would have wrangled it. And I think that he would have made sure that none of this had gotten as far as it has. Okay. Just on that piece of Civil Rights Act. And that is part of the upside down world that we are seeing now, right? Where all that legislation, all those laws that were passed to protect us, that were a result of the King movement and the civil rights movement, had been flipped on their back. Okay, he would have been blocked that. And I have to say this. I do pay attention to the King family. It has always been interesting how one side of the family has actually been conservative, or has become conservative over time, and the other side is progressive. And I'm very keen and enamored with Bernice King still keeping that message alive, right? And reminding people,
great job.
Right, what King stood for. And you're right, Tanya. In the here and now, with everything happened, King would have rose up and said, absolutely not. These protests, speaking up, jailing people, absolutely not. This is not what we fought for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Same here, Pam. Martin Luther King and John Lewis, we got two greats that are gone, but they were two relentless warriors. And we have to be that same thing, but we can't lose our joy in the process of all of this. We can't.
So Pam and Tanya, this is for you. I'm going to throw something at you. This is Noemi, political strategist, and I've been paying attention to this for a number of years because, like I said to you, a lot of this predates the start of this administration. In the mention of the greats, the civil rights greats, right? The modern greats, Al Sharpton, obviously Dr. Jesse Jackson is in poor health. He's not around. But I'm going to put it out there. Again, it's not going to be a popular comment. As you've heard me say several times, I have not made popular comments here, but there are comments that has to be made. Unfortunately, those platforms, the platforms of our traditional civil rights voices and truth sayers, were turned upside down during the BLM movement. And in their absence, we have not seen new, strong voices that have arisen to fight what is happening now. And that is part of the PR comms void, and how it was easiest for the DEI whole messaging to be turned on its back. That is a whole nother conversation. I would love to hear you both talk about that, but be very frank of what the BLM movement did. We know what it did. We know what its purpose was for, okay? But in that movement, Al Sharpton was criticized. Jesse Jackson was criticized, right? Many of the traditional civil rights leaders were basically taken down. and they were taken down by the BLM movement. And I think that's the void we're
That's
seeing.
interesting. You know what, Noemi, you're making a point. Check this out, Tanya and Noemi.
Listen.
What I was told just a few weeks ago, just before I did the hiatus, the last show I did before this one, I had the North Carolina chair of the Democratic Party, Anderson Clayton. You know, she's nationwide, right?
Yeah.
I had her on, and before I had her on, I had a brother and a sister, one from Black Votes Matter, and the other from the North Carolina Black Alliance. And I asked them, because see, they're both what comes before Gen Z? Millennials? Is it millennial, then Gen Z? I forget.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, it's X, Z, millennials.
X is
millennials, then Z.
Is it?
Yeah. It's millennial, Gen Z. Anyway, they were millennial.
Gen Xers are old.
Yeah. Millennials and they were either millennial Zers. They were probably more millennial.
Yeah.
Millennial. Anyways, I asked them, I said, listen, the one thing that I noticed that we don't have now, we don't have a leader where the messaging, and this is what I said to them, where the messaging is coming more from a centralized place, and then it disperses like that, so that everybody has their marching order sort of, and it's organized. And they said to me, and I have to dig up that show, they said to me, oh, we don't want that now. And I couldn't understand why, because
it is a byproduct of the BLM movement. Yes.
Well, it's a byproduct, but Al Sharpton also used to be an informant, and it didn't help his case to come out recently and remind people that he used to be an informant. I was like, okay.
And so instead, people are looking towards politicians. Okay. And at the end of the day, politicians, as great as they are as messengers, hear me out. They're about getting themselves elected. And so that's why I'm saying it's, the cultish thing, we need to steer ourselves away from, not just, the Republicans on the MAGA side, but on the Democratic side as well.
This chat is jumping. Gary Chambers in Louisiana. I guess he's saying Gary Chambers has a good voice. He has a good, strong voice. There's a preacher named Talbot Swan he is fire on IG.
Speaking of messengers and voices, now that you mentioned preacher, I would love to see Jamal L. Bryant from Baltimore, right?
I need him to just do that kind of stuff. I don't need him to do nothing else. He just needs to do that kind of stuff. Civil rights, that kind of stuff. That's really Jamal's lane.
Yeah.
He started following me recently. I thought it made my day. I was like, oh my God, I've made it. Mama, I made it.
Pam and Tanya, I do have to log off. Would love to be part of the part 2 and part 3 of this conversation. I hope I was into coming out of left field, so to speak, with some of these. But I think part of rebranding and rebuilding is looking at weaknesses, right? And being brutally honest with ourselves, right?
Right.
In terms of, what went wrong and what we should not repeat. And also looking at ourselves and saying, am I falling into cult culture, right? By only seeing Kamala Harris as the answer to all things.
Yes. We do that. We do tend to do that. And I think it's because we really do like the idea, the concept of a leader.
Yes.
And it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. We have to have multiple. Yeah.
Got to go, everyone. Thank you. Okay. Great dialogue. Logging off. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya. See ya. Bye-bye. Okay. All right. Dwayne, you have a lot to say in 2026.
He was just happy to see you back.
There are no perfect solutions. No, there's no perfect solutions. That's for sure. Just John. Yeah, they're millennials. We figured it out. message of the church would ostracize its weak faith-based voice. He
Yeah.
would say the black church has sold out to the event. Don't get me started about the evangelical thing, because that was the other part of this question about Christianity needs a rebrand. Okay, because I don't know of any Christianity, a Christian. Jesus don't know these people, what they talking about we supposed to be doing. It has nothing. He wouldn't
I
have
don't
said
even
nothing.
know these people know Jesus the way that they in church acting.
I know. And it's embarrassing because of this behavior, a lot of people, some people don't want to deal with any churches, at
The younger
all.
generation is not with it because it's so critical of the, I would say hypocritical, because you got the churches telling the young folks how they're supposed to be acting, but then you got the churches, leadership in the churches acting a fool and telling people they can't come in when they're in need, and having their mega church personas while the community is struggling. So there's so many, this is a younger generation where they are looking at not just what you say, but what you do.
Yes.
And they are basing their ability to be bothered with you at all based on that. Are your actions lining up with your values?
Right.
Or at least what you say your values are. And they'll be quick to abandon that. They'll do it for church. They'll do it for brands. Now this younger generation, like, no, I'm not. They're green. Well, at least until this MAGA stuff happened, but they're very conscious of the environment and of how people are treating other people, and they're not with it. So yes, churches are losing parishioners because they don't want to be bothered. It's crazy outside. And now you have the Christian Christian. What is it? Help me out. Christian nationalism.
Christian nationalists. Christian nationalism is really what this thing is, and it's nothing but this cultish behavior of what the KKK people are. That's what it is. Same thing.
It's a cult, and these kids are not with it. They're just not. They're not with it.
No.
On top of the fact that many kids now they're free thinkers. So you're not getting a free thinker to go along with cult-like behavior. Like most of these MAGA, well, I don't know. I guess you would want to look at the whole Charlie Kirk phenomenon also.
Oh my God.
That could be a religion, actually. So it's just wild right now how these churches are moving and thinking that they're going to continue to grow. But there's always a vulnerable population. That's why cults exist, because there's always a mentally vulnerable population.
Well, I will tell you, recently I was reading about some of these mega churches and stuff, and their numbers have really gone down. And it all started, I'm going to tell you, before COVID, after COVID, when people started realizing, well, hey, I can get it on I can stream it. I don't necessarily have to go into church. Yep. And until things get really where people are feeling it, feeling some hurt in their lives, then they'll decide maybe I'll go into the church or whatever. That's what some of the things that are happening. Someone says that Jamal is too concerned with being a celebrity. He started up this Target boycott with Nina Turner and others, and now we don't hear anything else about it from him. I thought I saw something recently, but
no, he actually is wanted. As a publicist, I get these pitches, so I know that he's trying to be more strategic and add more stores and more what's the word I'm looking for? Proof of you're not bad for us. What am I thinking? Where's my wording? It's Sunday. I'm losing my mind. But anyways, he's still doing the work. He's still out there doing it. He's trying to grow it. He's trying to grow the movement and they're out there doing that right now. So hopefully you'll see the results of that. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be or what that looks like, but there's a few different
Dollar Tree or Dollar General or something. That was
yes. There are some other things out there that he's doing. So he hasn't stopped with the Target. As a matter of fact, I think I recently saw another campaign on it recently about asking Target for something, but they haven't stopped. He hasn't stopped. They're just trying to make it more impactful. So we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah. It's some interesting times ahead. I'm gonna play a few things from Reverend Martin Luther King, just so that we can hear from him a little bit.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Even through the fire, to the limit, to the wall, for a chance to be with you, I gladly risk it all. Through the fire, through whatever comes. Oh God, here we go. That was just I think that was a commemorative wheel, and I have a few actual speeches I'm gonna share with you guys.
Really quick, let me I wanted to comment on something that we were talking about, the rebranding of Christianity. One of the things I think we definitely need to do is get back to centering service over control. I think the church has been trying to control people more than service them. And it has always been where we go to get serviced, right? To get blessed, to get humbled, to get love, to get forgiven. And the control seems to have centered itself in our churches. So looking back at, which we were talking about before, is the rebranding, compassion over condemnation. Where is our compassion at? Like, people are going through things.
Right.
Coming at them about what they're not doing, how much they're not giving. Like, we have to do better. And then accountability over dominance. Like, we have to be accountable too. We can't just be out here telling people what to do in the church. Right. And I feel like it was an important conversation, even though, and white nationalism, I don't even think that's a cult. That's a political subgroup. Like, white nationalism is a political subgroup, national Christian of whatever. But for us, even for us, our churches were a sanctuary, were a place where people received, even if they didn't have to give.
Right.
And it's been kind of flipped on its head, like the messaging we had talked about before. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I know we were talking about rebranding and get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I wanted you to see that Pam Hemphill sent you this message.
Aww. Made my day. It's a lot going on.
Yes, Renee, they did use the Shaka Khan version for that. I thought that was a little different. I kind of liked it. Coonery's on the line. That's true.
No, Coonery's always been there, but we weren't as accepting of it.
Yeah. Oh, Art. It's good to see you on here, Art. Church and Christianity goes hand in hand. It was always designed to control you. Well, I you know what? I do PR for a church, so I
I can't say that. I don't agree.
But you know what? Now I will say this: I wouldn't go to everybody's church. I wouldn't, but I think that I know what my church does and its leadership does, and what have you. So I'm with it. Here's what the message should be: tell me specifically what you are for, not why the other guy or girl is wrong. That's a very good point, Dwayne. Very good point. Very good point. Okay. All right. So I do have a speech or two here. Let's see.
The right to protest far right. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
Freedom.
Okay, wait a second. Was okay. There it goes. Jeez, I had too many windows open there.
That happens.
Right. Yeah, you know how that can be. But anyways, we need somebody to do that speech all over again for ICE.
It's not ICE, it's the people controlling ICE.
Yeah, and with our tax dollars.
Right.
And in fact, I just saw today where the guy, I cannot think of that. He's a Latino guy. He is he was the head of the Proud Boys. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
They said that it's on a leaked memo that he is definitely on the payroll
working for ICE. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You said we need a speech like that for ICE. I want to go back to what whoever said that earlier about coonery. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to this. So there's black and brown people working for ICE, attacking black and brown people.
I
but
know.
You don't see any white ICE officers rounding up any of these white illegal immigrants.
Because they're not going to be targeted anyway. It's all
don't matter. If your job is to go out there and find illegal immigrants, there are people that look like you that are illegal immigrants. They're not going to do that, but we will.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But we will. Why will they not? But we will. They won't, and we will.
Yeah, it's just the self-hate, the whole psychological thing is just exhausting.
It is. And that's why even when you have people like that though, I don't look directly at them because I feel honestly I just feel like something wrong with you. Now I'm looking at who did that to you, who messed this person up so bad that they don't like themselves enough to hurt people that look like them. Like all of this stuff is not superficial. This is all a very serious, problematic issue that is going on in our country with people that look like us. There is an issue. There's a deeper issue than just they needed money. For you to attack the people that look like you, the people that sound like you, the people that are from where you are from, but the people that don't look like you will not do the same to the people that don't look like you. There's an issue here, and it's just bigger than this one moment. Obviously, it took them a while to get where they are. Like, who messed you up? But that also lets you know that I'll take it back to the toxic families that we talked about. I come from a very toxic family. It took a lot to leave that toxicity. It was very painful, but I know it was to preserve a future, a brighter future, a cleaner future for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
The people of our country right now have to come to a conclusion that maybe the trauma wasn't your fault, but the recovery is your responsibility. And now we're at a point where the trauma wasn't our fault, but the recovery is our
Recovery is our
responsibility.
responsibility. I like that. I like that. I like that. David, I hear what you're saying. I still do get goosebumps to hear anything Dr. King says.
Same.
It's something. There again, not factual. The belief comes from Trump's BS. That's the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The problems are much deeper than superficial. And that's what saddens me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, guys, we are here at our hour. And I appreciate Noemi. Even though she had to leave a little early, and Tanya, I appreciate you too, Soror. I thank you guys so much. And Pam, I'm gonna contact you because I see the message you sent me in the chat. All right. But listen, I am so glad that we're back, guys. If you know of any politicians, no matter what they're running for, it could be school board, county commissioner, whatever, from wherever they are across the country, refer them to me because local elections matter. And I really tried to have a smorgasbord, if you will, of different people on so that they can say what they have to say. And you know what, when I mix people up from different states, it makes it really interesting, especially if they're running for the same offices and stuff. We get to compare notes and stuff. So it's really great. I thank you so much, my dear Soror, for coming. I thank you for
always happy to be here.
All of your help and everything. And audience, you guys are the best, are the best, are the best. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's wave goodbye. See you guys.
Until next time.
Okay.